really enjoy coming to St. John's. I think it's a really good church.
We're usually here more than once a week, and our children ask us every day, is it a church day?
It's my community, my church, my parish. Like, I feel like it's the place that I learn about God more. I acolyte, I'm a full-time acolyte, and I just, help around the place. I've done 18 services in a row. It's like the most anyone's ever acolyted, like in history, I think.
When I was younger, to be fully honest, I didn't really pay attention to what they were saying. I kind of looked around at the stained glass windows and just tried to figure out what they meant. I like right up in front of the altar, like the big window right there. Like, that's basically what I did, like, the entire time. Like, I looked at the roof, like the pattern on the roof.
The sanctuary is a particularly sacred place where we meet God in a pretty profound way. There is something about this space, and then there's also something about knowing the people with whom we worship. You get to know one another in these adult education classes and the sharing of faith that happens there in the fellowship. And then when we worship together, there's just a sense that God often seems to be at work in a really special way here.
Vacation Bible School coming in August, the week of August 14th.
So Ann Hankin, she has this great phrase that I always like, where she calls this a safe place to explore faith.
I think that having a place where our son is welcome and is encouraged to participate in the service in the way that children are embraced here, it's been really rewarding, really special.
I have the two granddaughters who have been participating in it as well. Tracy told me they are welcome. They can have the communion. And I said, isn't that great? Because I grew up in more of a sort of a traditional church, Lutheran in Finland, where the rules were pretty strict.
We acknowledge one baptism for the forgiveness of sins. We look for the resurrection.
I think one of the great things about St. John's is that it brings people together from very different religious backgrounds. We have Baptists, we have Catholics here, and the service is very dignified. It's, definitely traditional Anglican, but it's also broad enough that people from different backgrounds can feel welcome and feel like this is what church should be.
There's a huge amount of diversity in how people feel and think, but when we come together each Sunday, it feels really supportive of everybody wherever they are in their journey.
I don't want to be corny about it, but like St. John's is a microcosm. We have people here who I feel very strong for one another, and I feel that, and I think it makes this place special, spiritual, and great.
It's so amazing to me that we have such skills and such great people at this place, and we live in this fantastic spot.
I never realized that church could be quite so Christian the way it is here. I've gone to a lot of churches that were not necessarily, that had a lot of cliques and factions, and people weren't necessarily all that nice. And here at St. John's, they genuinely are. And it's startling in the best way possible, really Sunday after Sunday.
It was so easy to meet people here at St. John's. It really was.
It's like a sense of community, I guess.
For us, it's all about the community.
The kind of easy community to slip into. We're new to the area as well as new to the church, and we were looking for a sense of our neighbors and a sense of our place in it. And so the opportunity to meet people, receive some kind of support, but also give back to the extent that we can has been really nice.
I got the courage to come and visit, and I've been coming ever since. And just found how friendly everybody was, which was very heartwarming. So the kindness has been infectious. And that's what I feel the most from coming here. It makes it really easy that easy to walk in and make it home right away. So
these are our friends, and our friends in the journey to grow closer to God.
I think one of the main things to me is, besides learning about God, is community, sense of belonging somewhere. You know, I worked in a hospital. We had the 12 nurses in the same unit, and we worked really well together, you know. And when you leave, you don't have that sense of, these are the people I work with, or these are the people I belong with. Now for a while I felt like, oh gee, what do I do now? You know, I try to volunteer things and all that, but the church, here you feel like I am part of something, and I can do things. We'll do the coffee hour, Ellen and I, and this coffee hour is really, I feel that it is really important to the church. The community gathering afterwards. Because I have gone to church and you never learn to know anybody, really. You come in, say hi, and leave, and that was it. So this kind of really builds up the community.
We actually started coming here. We had a house fire that my son and I were in the house during the fire, and the investigators who come out to check everything, is it intentional and all that stuff, we were describing what happened. They're like, you guys should not have survived this fire because of the nature of how things turned out. So we said after that Sunday, we're like, we're going to church, and being thankful for kind of the fortune we've had. So we started coming here, and have been here with some breaks during COVID, but been here ever since.
I've not experienced a community quite like this one, and just the way that everybody steps up to support and love one another anytime anyone needs anything, really.
So I started coming to church here, and everything was fine until I got the cancer diagnosis. So that was a rough one, because it was a real serious one. And so Tracy, as well as the community, were here for me. I mean, through prayers, letters, food, flowers. But Tracy checking in on me, because not only did I go through chemo, but I went through stem cell transplant at the height of COVID. So that time that I was in the hospital, no one was allowed to be with me. So that was rough. But to say I was alone, I never felt alone.
St. John's means to me an extended family. Not just my own biological family, but this family of Christ.
I really like it here. I feel like there's a real church family, and I've always felt that if I don't go to church on Sunday, I've missed out on something. When we first came here, we were so impressed with the music program. I think that's what also grabbed us to bring us back.
Yeah, the music was really amazing, and the community was just so loving, so we stayed because of that.
Singing, I think the music is a really big part of it. Because everyone really seems to enjoy doing the singing. I certainly enjoy it.
Holy, holy, holy Lord God of power and might, heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest.
You can never tell what's going to happen at St. John's, because you never know when Ben's going to play a Queen Rhapsody song or something like that.
If the purpose of music is to get you closer to God or to have some experience of God, I get it from your music, and I just love it. There's something about it that, it's opening and resonant, and I feel like those experiences, even if I can't remember what the song was, I may not remember the melody, and I may not remember the words, but I remember the experience.
And the way you play songs, some hymns that I know, but I've never heard them played that way. and you just impart, some magical parts to these wonderful songs.
From my work as administrator, I've learned that people here really, really appreciate humor.
I think a sense of humor is an important piece for almost anybody.
Is it harder to answer that question or easier with me making those faces to your daughter? Easier.
I got my name wrong.
All right.
Yeah. Most of the time you show up and...
or watch out, or be like...
Oh, right, yeah.
When the choir dressed up for Halloween this past year, and we all dressed up as minions in these makeshift costumes, and it was just a great day. It's great that in this community we can kind of be ourselves and no one really cares, and people actually want that. That's really cool.
For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed.
I think it's a feeling that I get whenever I come here, is that feeling of sort of the peaceful, natural way of, in a spiritual setting, to think about relationship with the Lord and with people.
The love of God is so present on this campus at any given time.
The whole campus is very special. The open space between the rectory garden and the church, we were having a barbecue picnic out there, and there were kids playing soccer, and you could look back at sort of the beauty of both the rectory and the church.
I like the fountain, back when you go on the sidewalk from the church to the parish, and there's a little fountain. I like going there with the little benches.
I've been trying, anytime the weather's nice, to take my lunch break to come out here and to sit here and pray for 10 to 20 minutes, however much time I have, and just being here surrounded by all of the trees and the flowers and the animals and everything and the fountain. This is probably my favorite spot on the campus for those reasons, for sure.
I love the whole property, all of it. And so a de-stressor is that I will come here and just walk around. The graveyard, Victor and I are in the graveyard a lot. We like to walk around. He likes to look at all the gravestones.
I imagine that Louise and I will end up there, and I'd certainly like to.
Our children love the cemetery, and they love walking among it. And there's this beautiful image I've always felt in that of the church, past, present, and future, united.
The cemetery is interesting because it's got so much history here. St. John's goes back for a long way, has a lot of history. And
with regard to the history of the church, has been the outreach and care that the people of St. John's have for their community. And not just the Glendon community or the Butler community, but far beyond that. And to know that that kind of care had been part of our history, our ongoing history here of pretty close to 200 years.
Having grown up with horses, I enjoy the blessing of the hounds and seeing the horses out in the country as people are enjoying them. That's just some of what St. John's brings to the community.
I love living out here. I thought perhaps that with all the privilege and emphasis on horses and history, and that maybe there wouldn't be as dynamic of an involvement in the community and social justice. And then I found out there was that interest to reach out well beyond the St. John's walls and to make constructive change.
For example, we now have had the distinct pleasure and opportunity to welcome to asylum seekers from Afghanistan. I know a lot of us have a heart to kind of serve and work in the world, and I'm really excited to have a rector who is going to help us discern God's will here and simultaneously help us keep going into action in the world.
I hope the next rector has a passion for social justice and the ability to lead and move forward in a way that brings the majority of folk along with them.
Whoever it is should know that we are a thriving community, and I think that there's just so much good stuff going here. So there's a lot, like a really good starting place. But I think that we're also ready for some challenges to grow our ministry and our outreach. And I really look forward to seeing us be more active and to do more in the surrounding community.
A community builder, that's what we need.
I think the most important thing is that it's a rector who will roll up their sleeves and join in, not one that just sits by the sideline and lets the community do, but that is really part of everything we do here.
I would love to continue the same feeling that this church has, which is like open to welcome. Everybody can come in, and if you want communion, have a communion. And just generally speaking, people are very friendly and warm. So if we just keep up that openness.
I just hope that the next person has a grounding in his faith to realize that ultimately God is in charge, to just continue to adhere to the gospel and let the gospel speak for itself.
I want them to be fiscally responsible, build the number of parishioners here, and you've got to be able to laugh at yourself, others, just everybody feeling comfortable. To get people in that close community, you do have to have a sense of humor.
I would like somebody who is rooted in the tradition, but open to new ideas and open to new experiences.
I guess it's important that a new rector that can understand the adults, but also like the littler kids.
We're like a very fun group. We celebrate a lot of stuff.
And I guess kind of more like understanding towards the children as well as the adults and not treating them like differently. I want a rector who will lead us in the holy, holy, holy. Yeah, I guess I would just have someone that would understand children.
St. John's is a special place, and that anyone who comes here can see that. Just the beauty of the grounds, the welcoming nature of the congregation, the music, the preaching, everything here is just very well done. And I think just driving to St. John's, you start to feel spiritual before you even get to the church, because we're out of the country here. And I feel lucky to be able to worship here, and I think a new rector would feel lucky to be able to lead this congregation.
Come join us. It's a beautiful place.
The grounds, the space, and the people, all of it just makes my heart just full.